It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you.
Okay, so sorry for having this file come to you guys so late, but as you remember, this is the file that we were supposed to edit, and this is the file that it's supposed to look like. So notice there are several elements. First, to begin with, this file is landscape, as the previous is portrait. It has a cover page, it has a contents page, it has a header and a footer in every page. All the images are centered and they're formatted in layout. There are 3 columns in all of the final pages where there's only one in the sample file. And all the titles are centered with the titles of the texts in the first column. Okay. Oh, and it also has a bibliography. So this video should show you how to do all these things in preparation for your assessment next week. So first of all, let's start off with the very first thing we should do is go up to layout, go up to orientation, and let's make the whole page landscape, because this will solve a lot of problems if you got your orientation correct from the get-go. Now, like I said, as you remember, it'll be a little bit different if you're on a Mac or if you're on a PC, but the commands are very similar. So if you can see me do it on the Mac and play around a little bit with the function controls, you should find similar attributes to be able to do this on the PC. So let's first of all start by giving each individual story an individual page. So this needs its own page. So I'd click at the very top of the page, right on top of the image. Please look where my cursor is. And I'd click there. I'd make sure that this image is not selected while I'm clicking my cursor at the very top of my page. Then I would go to Layout, Break, and Page Break. So because my image was selected there, it didn't work out. By the way, something helpful is knowing the command edit, undo. If you make a mistake, you can undo it. Okay. Page break. Alright. So there you are. You're at the new page. You can do the same for every story. Like this story needs a page break, so I'll just select the top of the image and go to page break. And the last story is this one, The Frog Prince, break, page break. Alright, now that we've got page breaks for each of our stories, you'll see that the first page is empty. This is where we're going to make our contents page. But before we do that, let's select our stories and give them each 3 separate columns. So, as you can see, you only need to select the story. Don't select the image, this image of the next story. Just select up to right here where the cursor is. Okay? There. And now we're still in layout. We're going to go to columns up here and break it up into 3 columns. Alright? So as you can see now, the first story is perfectly into 3 columns. Once you're done with that, what you need to do is you need to bring your cursor to the very first word where your story starts, click on it, and now remember, because each title needs to have its own column, this title needs its own column, you need to click on this, the very first word at the beginning of it. Make sure the word is not selected, just your cursor is at the beginning of the word, and now go to page break, and column break. So when you column break, you see what we just did was we gave each column, we gave this title its own column. So from below here, nothing else will happen. Okay? What you can now do is go ahead and do the same for the next 3 stories. So I will start selecting the story from up here, and I will take it all the way down, and I'll make sure not to select the 3rd story, so it should come up to exactly the end of that. Okay? Alright? And I will go, now that it's selected, I'll click on columns and 3 columns. Okay? So now my second story is also 3 columns. And then I'll click on the top of the first word right here, and I'll go to break, and column break. All right. So now, as you can see, my first story is exactly the same as my second story. Now I'll do the exact same thing for the third story. This is just good practice. All right. Make sure you don't select the image at the top. Make sure you don't select anything after the image. All right. So just come up to down up to about here. All right. Have it selected, and do the same thing again. So column, 3 columns. And now come to the first word of this story, One Fine Evening, a Young Princess, and then click on break, column break. All right, so now all 3 of our stories are exactly the same. Now, before we create our contents page, let's center these images, okay? So select the image, and what you can do on a Mac is Command E, or on a Windows you can press Control E. Yeah, that will center your image. Or the other way you can do it is go to Format Picture, click on Position, and click on Top Center. It should give you the same. It should give you the same thing. But if you click on Top Center, you see the way this image is formatted lets the text spill all around it. So what you need to do is click on Wrap Text over here and go to top and bottom. This image format type means text can only be at the top of the image and at the bottom of the image. This one says the image is in front of the text. This one makes the image go behind the text. This one, or this one, lets the image go all around the text. So for this particular example, what we want to do is we want to have your text only be at the top or at the bottom of the image. So we'll click on top and bottom. I encourage you to just experiment and play around with different image types, different image formats. So we'll do the same with this, Command E, and then we'll change this and go top and bottom. All right, and we'll do the same with the last one. Control E or Command E, click on Wrap Text, and go top and bottom. All right. So when you have top and bottom, see, it also gives a nice kind of line space over here. Okay? All right. So now what we need to do is we need to work on our contents page. So we need to select all the titles that we have. So let's select Little Red Riding Hood. And we're going to click on Home, right here, Home. Sorry. And then we'll make this a heading 1. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing with all the titles. Anything you make a heading 1 indexes the title of that story. And what indexes do is indexes help you create contents pages or references. Heading 1. Okay? So there are many different types of headings, as you can see up here. So if you did something that was a heading 2, and I'll show you an example of that in a little bit, you'll see how it differs from a heading 1. Now, let's come to this empty page that we created a long time ago, okay? And then we're going to go to Document Elements. If you're using a newer version of Microsoft Word, then you will go to Insert instead of Document Elements, but you'll also see the same thing here. And these are tables of contents, different tables of contents. They're just different formatting styles. I just like the default, the first one, so I just click on that. And so for me, it inserted my table of contents over here. What I can do is I can just take it and bring it over here. The entire table. Okay. So, because sometimes if your image is messing up, just click on your image again and go to Layout, go to Break, and Page Break, and that should solve your image problems. And see, this image is at the bottom of the page, and it's making a little bit of a mess. So just select, if you're in the same situation that I'm in, just select your image, okay? Go to Format Picture. If you need to do this again, just do it. Go to Positioning. This one is top center, so click top center, and then this one needs to be top and bottom again. For whatever reason, okay, if your image has reset its format type, just do that, and you should be fine. Okay? Everything else should be fine too. Alright? Okay, as you can see, sometimes what happens when you use the heading function, and this is an error in Microsoft Office, is this line is not aligned to this line. But that's only because we used a column break that was, that sometimes Microsoft Word doesn't process correctly. So you can just leave it like this. For your assessment, this will still be correct. But if I were to just backspace, and instead of using column break, just press enter, 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 you see it lines up very nicely. This line is now aligned with that line. And I will do the same for this. So I'll click over there, I'll backspace, so that breaks the column break, and then I'll just enter, 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 enter. And now this line and that line are aligned as well, very nicely. Okay, this one is already aligned, it did it correctly, so we don't need to edit that. So if you go back to your very beginning, you look at the contents page, you see you have the 3 titles of your 3 texts. These are all heading 1s. Now, I wanted to show you a little bit about what happens if you had a heading 2. So over here, under the Little Red Riding Hood story, I'm going to write by, and I'm going to write my name, Task H. And I'm going to select my name, and I'm going to make it a heading 2. Okay? Now that I've made this a heading 2, if I come back to my contents page, click on this little arrow at the bottom of my contents page, and click Update Table, and then select Update Entire Table, like that. Okay? And click OK. You'll see that I have a heading 2 under my heading 1. So the heading 2 makes a subheading under a larger heading. So the large heading, for example, in this scenario would be Little Red Riding Hood. The subheading would be by Task H. Okay. So we're coming along quite nicely. We're actually almost finished with editing this entire page. What we need to do before we go on is we need to add headers and footers. So if you went back to Document Element and you clicked on Header here, you'd see on the header you have many different types of headers that you can add. Okay, so a header is a part of the text. It's the top margin of your document that doesn't affect the rest of the body of your text. So if you wanted to edit your header manually, you'd just double click at the very top of your page. So I'd come to the top of my page and I'll double click. And once I double clicked, I'd get to address this header. Right? I could just type in here. I could write my name here. Okay? And any header or footer that I edit on one page will be the same for every single page. As you can see, now it says by Task H at the top of every page. So this is just for you to know how to make headers. When you're writing official documents, every time we write an MUIDS document, we have the company name and the company address at the top. Okay? For the scope of this course, we just want you to be aware of how to use headers and footers. Over here, you have very nice preset headers that you can just play around with. This is a nice one. This is one that I like, so I usually use it. So for this header, you can see at the top of the page, you can type in your company name and your document title. Of course, you can change that around. So you can make this, for example, the teacher name, and I'm going to write my name. And the bottom I can make it, for example, the type of the document can be any, it could be, so this one is going to be Learning MS Word, Microsoft Word. So if you use a header for all your files that you do, it's a nice way to hand in your documents. And of course at the top you see you have a page number, which is nice. What you can do instead of having this page number is you can, for example, add the date. You can just change it. You can change it to anything you want. And I would just go to, I would just type in the date over here if I wanted to. So today is the 15th. Sorry, it's the 17th of September 2015. Something like that. So now all my pages would be dated. So since I added the date to all my pages now, maybe on my footer I should add a page number. So I'd go and I'd select the footer and I'll just look for a document that shows page number. So anything that has the hashtag, like this one, shows you the page number. So I will use something simple like this. I like this, so I'll use that. And I will get rid of this Learning Microsoft Word, the document name, because I have it at the top. I don't want it at the bottom, so I just deleted it. So now all my pages are numbered. Sorry. So now all my pages are numbered, and all of them have a header with my name on it, and the name of the document, and the date on it. So I want this to be gone. Thank you. Over here it says type the name of the document. If you want that to disappear, just hit spacebar. That should work. Okay. Alright. So play around with the different formats of headers and footers, and play around with the different formats of images. Play around with the different styles of tables of contents as you feel free to. Okay. Now what we want to do, one of the last few things we want to do is we want to insert a cover page. So we're just going to go to, again, document element, and again, if you're on Microsoft Office on a Windows PC, it might be slightly different for you than it is for me. But you'd go to the cover page section, insert cover page, and in a Mac it's document elements cover page, and you will just select any type of cover page that you want. There are many preset themes, and each and every one of them can be customized to the way you want it to be. So this is a simple theme, okay? I created this one. I like this one. And one of the problems with the cover pages is they are specific to the layout of the page. So this one, as you can see, still holds a portrait layout. So you need to drag some of them out. You need to sometimes resize it manually so it suits your page or our page, which is in landscape format. Alright, so that's nice in landscape, and so is this, and just center it. So if you'd like to center these things automatically instead of centering it manually, you can do, again, what I showed you with the pictures. Just go to Format, and then go to Positioning, and this is the center of the page, and that did it on its own. And you can do the same with the text box. Just Positioning and center of the page. Now it's perfectly centered. Let's give our document a title. So our document title is going to be called Brothers Grimm Editing Practice. Sorry, I spelled that incorrectly, and that as well. And let's give it a name, or MUIDS, that's fine, I like that. And we can write, we can select the top and give it a title. So it will be MICROSF, Microsoft Word. Okay, so that's just a title page. You can see that this looks a little bit different from what our final looks like, because this was made on a different computer and it had a different themes page than what we have. But you can just use this one. Yeah, you can just use any cover page as long as you know how to make a cover page. So some of the differences between a cover page, a contents page, and the rest of the pages in this documentation are, for instance, a cover page does not include a header and a footer. So as you can see, your header and footer in this scenario is included in almost every page, but not your cover page. So that's one of the differences between a cover page. That's why you need to learn how to make a cover page. Okay? Sorry, let's change this around so it makes more sense. Brothers Grimm Stories. S-T-O-R-I-E-S. And let's call this Microsoft Word. Alright? Okay, fantastic. Now, one of the very last elements that I'm going to cover in this tutorial, and this might be the far most important, and that's why I left it till the very end, is how to do referencing using Microsoft Office. Okay, so select the very end of your story. Click on the very, very end of your story. Now, go to Layout, Break, and Page Break. So we just gave ourselves a new page. Okay. In this page, we're going to create the bibliography for this entire section. So let's open up Google Chrome and go to google.com. All right. And type in Little Red Riding Hood. Let's pretend that we got the stories from here, Little Red Riding Hood, on Wikipedia. All right. So this will be one of our sources. And now we need to come up with another one. Okay. Hansel and Gretel. Okay. So these are both, let's say we got the stories from here. We got Hansel and Gretel from here. We got Little Red Riding Hood from here. What I want to do is I want to tell the person reading my article or reading my research or anything, any project that I have done, that this is where I got my information. This is how I get my sources. So what I would do is, again, I'd go back to Document Elements, and this will be a little bit different for you if you're on a Windows PC. Once again, you'd go to Insert and you'd go to Manage Bibliographies, but on a Mac it would be Document Elements and Manage Bibliographies. And as you can see over here, I just clicked on Manage, and I have no citations here. So I'd click the plus button so I can create a reference site, all right? And over here, I have the type of resource that I'm using. If I did my research from a book, then I'd select book, but since I got Little Red Riding Hood from a website, I'm going to select website, okay? And it asks me for the name of the author. So normally what you should try to do is any article that you're looking at, look for the name of an author. Search the page thoroughly enough that you've done a fair amount of research to try to figure out who the author of the story is. In this specific case, there is no author. I've looked for it for quite a while. So over here you have category, Grimm's Fairy Tales, and all these different things, but you don't have a name of an author. If you don't have the name of an author, you can assume that the author was the company of the website, the company that you got the information from, the website that you got the information from. So you would select author as an organization, and the author is Wikipedia, okay? And then the name of the web page, and not to be confused, it's not Wikipedia. The name of the web page is the title of the page you're looking at, which is Little Red Riding Hood, okay? So you put that in there. And the name of the website is Wikipedia, again. The name of the URL is this URL right here. Just copy and paste it. Excuse me. Just copy it and paste it. Okay. The producer's name, since it doesn't have a star next to it, if we knew, we could tell it. If we don't know, we wouldn't have to say it. In this specific case, we know that the producer of this story is called Grimm's Fairy Tales. You know that because I'm telling you that. It's also at the very bottom of the Wikipedia page if you want to look at that specifically. And we don't know who the production company is. But we know the year this was created. If you go back to the Wikipedia page, scroll down to the very bottom, and look at this date right over here, you'll see that this was last modified on 1st September 2015. So that would be what you put here. You would put year, 2015, and then you'd put month, September, and you'd put day first. And then this is the day that you saw it. So I saw it today. Today is the 17th of September. So today is 2015 again. September 15. So those are what's very important. Not click OK. All right? Just wait for half a second. It should show. Okay. So that's my first reference. Now, I'm going to add a second reference. I'm going to do it the very same way for, I've already done this site for Little Red Riding Hood. I want to do the same thing for Hansel and Gretel. So let me just copy this. This also doesn't have an author that I could find. So this is information that I already know, so I'm just typing it in. You can look through the website to find the information that you need. Okay, the URL is that. I just copied and pasted it. This is also the same. All right. The name of the page is called Hansel and Gretel. Okay. The producer's name is the same. It's Grimm's Fairy Tales. Okay. The year that it was modified, I have to double check because I can't remember. And if I look at the very bottom of the page, it says 19th September 2015. All right. Year 2015, month September, day 19th. And when did I exit it? Well, today as well. September 19th. Okay. Sorry, earlier I said today was September 17th, but it's actually 19th. All right. And then you click add. Okay. And that will add the second one to your list of references. So you can add as many citations as you want. And the importance of this is because there is a correct way to do referencing and there is an incorrect way to do referencing. So this is the correct way to do referencing. That's why learning this is very, very important at this point in time. All right? Okay, just ignore this here. Whatever happened. Now, if I want to insert the bibliography, I'm still in document elements up here. I'm still on document elements. I would just go straight bibliography, and when I click on bibliography, it'll show me the types of bibliography that I can insert. There are not many types. There's only 2 types. I'm just going to select this type. And this gives me a reference to exactly what I need. This is how you reference bibliographies. This is how you do it. This is a proper reference form. Every time you do a research, henceforth, you should always use this form of referencing. This form of referencing is called MLA, sorry. You could also use APA. You could also use Chicago referencing or Turabian. Whichever one your teachers prefer, MLA and APA are quite highly accepted. Okay? So that is a finished edited document. For a recap, we learned how to make a cover page. We learned how to make a contents page by selecting headings and heading 1s, heading 2s. You can also play around with heading 3s and heading 4s. We realized how to update tables. So just as a recap, because we added a bibliography, we can update the table one more time, and you'll see that the bibliography section has now been added to your table of contents. We've learned how to position images on a page and also how to change its layout types. We've learned how to create columns, use page breaks and column breaks. We've learned how to create headers and footers, and we've also learned how to make bibliographies. So that's it for this course. If you have any questions, write on the Edmodo group. Send me an email. I'm putting my email here as we speak. And as word of advice, if you're watching this video and it looks very blurry to you, you need to be watching this in full 1080p. Do not change the quality of this video so it looks much nicer. Okay? Thank you very much. See you all on Monday.
All about it when I see you.